Hello again, everybody. It's Les East along with Brian Allee-Walsh, NewOrleans.com. Lester, you know what? It's hard to find a really good topic for today's panel discussion between you and I. But let's talk about the health of this team, and that seems to be the overriding point of interest right now, is that these guys are as healthy as they've ever been under Coach Payton at this stage of the season.
Yeah, and that kind of stands out because this time of year, this time of a game week, you usually talk a lot about questionable people and who might be able to come back from injuries, and they've had a lot of that the last few weeks. But, you know, Sean Payton talked about it today, that they have fewer people on injured reserve at this point in the season than they've had in any of his previous 4 seasons. The injury report is extremely short. Pierre Thomas was full again today. He's certainly looks like he's going to play on Sunday against the Rams, and Julius Jones was full, and I think Charles Brown was limited. So it's 3 guys on the injury list on a Thursday in December, and they only have 8 guys on IR, I believe it is. So it's remarkable not only how healthy they are, but the guys who had to miss a lot of time, like Pierre Thomas and Reggie Bush, have made it back at really the optimum time for the stretch run of the regular season to help improve their seeding and then hopefully, presumably, be healthy going into the playoffs. So that's a major factor for them right now.
Yeah, when you look at let's look at their backfield for just a moment. I mean, you've got 4, arguably their 4 top backs up for hopefully the final stretch of the season here in Reggie Bush, Pierre Thomas, Chris Ivory, of course, the leading rusher on the team, and then Julius Jones, the acquisition. And I talked with Liddell Betts today. He has a level 2 sprained ligament in his neck that would probably sideline him until the postseason. So they went ahead and made the decision to put him down for the rest of the season. He'd love to come back here, and he said we'll see where the chips fall after the season. But he said, you know, the likelihood of him returning before the postseason would be probably unlikely, so that's one reason why they put him down. But when you look at their backfield in general, you've got 4 legit good backs that are coming back for the final stretch.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, we had talked earlier in the year, like, what would they do when all 5 halfbacks were healthy, and they've all had been on the active roster, so they could have kept them all, but there just aren't enough snaps for all of them. So, you know, from a numbers standpoint, they could afford to put Liddell Betts on IR, even with the possibility he might be able to come back in the postseason, because there are just aren't enough touches for 5 guys. But the variety of skills these guys have, with Pierre being your primary first and second down back, along with Chris Ivory, 2 different styles. Pierre being a guy who can play on 3rd down, catch screens, pass protect, and of course Reggie being sort of a wild card. And then Julius Jones, just to give those guys a break. They really have a luxury with the depth and variety of skills they have at halfback.
Yeah, I would suspect that all 4 will be up too for Sunday's game, just because Pierre is coming back after being off 9 weeks. Reggie still is as close to 100% as he can be, but he's still there. So I would suspect that Julius Jones, Chris Ivory, Reggie, and Pierre will all be up for Seattle, and it does give Sean Payton so many options when he's play calling. And 3 tight ends are up, all the wide receivers are healthy. I mean, on defense, everybody's up. The starting group can be out there again, which is just phenomenal when you consider the past. And like you said, it's December. It'll be December the 12th, and they've got their whole roster up and at 'em, so to speak. So it bodes well. And now they got to take care of business against a real good, potentially dangerous underdog in the St. Louis Rams.
Yeah, they're a pretty good team. A lot's been made this week about the fact that the Saints are 9-3, and they have an uphill battle to try and win their division. And somebody in the NFC West is going to get in probably with 8 or 9 wins as a division champ and get a home game. But these guys are 6-6, and they're in the midst of a divisional race. They're tied for first. They're trying to win a division title too, and they're a good football team. The Saints are a fairly significant favorite, and rightfully so. But this is a dangerous team. It's a young team. It's a hungry team, one that's getting better all the time. So it's an important game for the Saints. Not a must-win, as we talked to Sean Payton about today, but an important game for them nonetheless, and should be a good ball game on Sunday.
And with that, we're going to close. But remember, kickoff is 3:05 on Sunday, so don't forget that. Make sure that you write that down. And 3:05 on Sunday kick. New Orleans Saints 9-3, trying to keep pace with the Atlanta Falcons in the tough NFC South. So for Les East, Brian Allee-Walsh from NewOrleans.com. Aloha, everyone.